Ever wondered what happens when the universe just snaps? When everything breaks loose, and it's not peace but rage that sets things straight. Sometimes what sounds like a scream of anger is actually the end of an entire era. When the gods are in danger and darkness becomes unbearable, balance isn't restored through calm, it's Kali, rising in a blast of fury that even the boldest demons can't stand against. And what if chaos was exactly what you needed to start over? Born from the womb of Mahishi, a woman who knew the dark like few others, Raktabij didn't come into the world like any ordinary child. He was the seed of ancient rage, the shadow of an unfulfilled wish planted way back in the Satya Yuga. He carried the weight of a broken promise and a bloodline scarred by pain. That beginning wasn't random, it was training for something bigger. Ever feel like your pain has a purpose? That was Raktabij. Pain turned into flesh. In his early lifetimes, he dove deep into extreme spiritual practices that would break most people. Picture someone fasting for months, meditating in caves where not even echoes stick around. All of it just to win a blessing to escape death. Not out of bravery, but fear of being erased. He craved immortality, and Brahma, moved by his dedication, gave in. The blessing was wild. Every drop of his blood would create another version of him. Now think, what are you feeding every day with your actions? Because that multiplies too. That blessing, it was like a virus dropped into the system of the universe. Something that should never have been granted. Raktabij wasn't dangerous because of his size, but because he could multiply endlessly. Here's the catch. Sometimes, the very thing you pray for the hardest can end up being the thing that ruins you. So if you're fighting tooth and nail for something right now, ask yourself, does this set me free or trap me even more? Because what came next, that was just the beginning of what this demon unleashed when he stepped into Patala Lok. With his blessing locked in and a thirst for revenge pounding like war drums, Raktabij stormed into Patala Lok, the dark underworld, where even the scariest creatures hide. He didn't knock, didn't make deals, he took over. The same folks who used to mock where he came from now shivered, just hearing his name. The power he brought was so heavy that even the gates of Patala bowed in silence. Funny, right? Everyone wants power until they actually get it and feel the weight. Raktabij didn't forget his old enemies, the Mahishi Asuras. He hunted them down one by one, not in a rush, but with full satisfaction. Every blow he landed wasn't just physical, it hit their spirits too. It was revenge for every bit of shame he carried from his past life. He wasn't just killing bodies, he was wiping out legacies. And in doing so, he became king not by divine right, but through raw fear. Makes you wonder how many people today carry their pain around, trying to conquer it by taking over everything outside. But with great power comes a strange kind of loneliness. The other demons didn't cheer when Raktabij rose to power, they backed off. It wasn't respect, it was straight up fear. Nobody wanted to be around someone who could multiply just by bleeding. His presence was a ticking time bomb in any room. And here's something to think about. Is what you're chasing in life bringing you closer to others or pushing you away? Because trust me, things start to shift the moment Mahishasura's name enters the story. Rage didn't ask for permission, it just exploded inside Raktabij when he heard about Mahishasura's death. It wasn't just the loss of an ally, it was a direct hit to the pride of the Asuras. A goddess with 10 arms had done what most warriors were too scared to even try. She took Mahishasura down with the power of thunder and the strength of a mountain. For Raktabij, that was unforgivable. And maybe you felt that too. A pain so deep it shows up as anger, just so you won't break down crying. So he wandered the world, hunting the goddess who had the guts to challenge the empire of fear. But fate doesn't play nice with the impatient. Even with all his insane power, Raktabij couldn't find her. It was like her energy knew exactly when and where to show up, and it wasn't gonna be until the moment was right. Funny how life works like that, huh? You can chase answers all day and still run into locked doors. Doesn't mean you're on the wrong path, just that you haven't hit the right moment yet. Meanwhile, Raktabij's rage kept growing, like a shadow no light could tame. He didn't just want revenge anymore, he wanted total domination. But here's the part most people miss. The more you try to crush what hurt you, the more you feed it inside yourself. If hate is what's driving you, life will just keep giving you more reasons to hate. Raktabij was about to learn that the hard way, but before that, two other brothers, Shumb and Nisham, were out chasing their own slice of immortality. Shumb and Nisham were demons who knew exactly how to play the power game. Ambition ran through their veins. They didn't just want to rule, they wanted to bend fate itself. Fired up by Raktabij's success, they went after Brahma's blessing too. They asked for immortality, but like many before them, the wish came with some fine print. Brahma granted their request, but with one catch: they could only be killed by an incredibly powerful woman. It was the universe's way of saying, you can play, but there are rules. At first, the conditions seemed like a sweet deal because really, what woman could ever match them in power? But that little detail turned out to be the perfect trap. It's like underestimating silence, not knowing it's hiding a storm. They grew cocky, convinced the world was theirs for the taking. With every empire they crushed, they forgot the prophecy already had their downfall written in bold. Here's a powerful reminder: any blessing you don't fully understand can end up being a curse in disguise. What makes the story even more intense is that these two brothers, even with their divine blessing, acted like nothing could touch them. They completely forgot that the universe has its own way of keeping things in check, and what goes up always comes down. Their obsession with total control was about to crash into a destiny wearing bracelets and eyes of fire. And while they kept expanding their empires, a goddess was waking up, and the sky was about to hear her roar. The death of Namu, Raktabij's brother, was the spark that set the heavens on fire. His cry of pain turned into raw fury, and like lightning tearing through a stormy sky, Raktabij launched a full-on assault against Indra's realm. This wasn't just revenge, it was an all-out declaration of war against cosmic balance. The sky, once seen as a symbol of purity and protection, now trembled before a demon whose blood could multiply into armies. It was like chaos had grown wings, and it wasn't planning to land anytime soon. Indra, with his army of gods and thunderbolts, tried to fight back. But the battlefield quickly turned into a scene of humiliation. Nisham, one of the core leaders of the demon uprising, was taken down. That hit shook the confidence of the Asuras and cracked Raktabij's ego. Sometimes seeing an ally fall is the mirror that shows you your own weakness. And let's be real, how many times in life does a small loss force us to rethink the whole path we've been walking? But instead of pulling back, Raktabij did what so many of us do when we feel threatened. He went all in. Nisham's defeat didn't make him reflect, it drove him mad. What started as a mission turned into pure obsession, and his presence in the heavens felt like a living nightmare. When ego takes the wheel, the road always leads straight to a cliff. But before the fall comes the rumble, and Raktabij was coming back, not just as a threat, but like an earthquake shaking thrones and tearing down everything certain. The sky still echoed with the screams of the last battle when the ground began to shake again. But this time, it wasn't an army, it was Raktabij himself, ripping through the celestial gates with brute force. The whole atmosphere shifted. The gods, so used to being in control, felt fear slipping through their fingers. Indra's throne, the ultimate symbol of divine authority, flickered like a candle in a hurricane. And let's be honest, when fear walks in the front door, even faith starts packing its bags. Trying to hold the balance, the gods called upon Kubera, the guardian of wealth and leader of the Yakshas. What followed was a war that made no sense by human logic, numbers, or even spiritual order. The Yakshas, with their deep devotion and mystical strength, fought like warriors but were crushed like dry leaves in the wind. The demons walked away with a brutal win, and the sky didn't feel so heavenly anymore. Sometimes the most powerful one isn't the loudest, it's the one who knows exactly where to strike. Raktabij didn't just want to win, he wanted to leave scars, marks that the gods would remember for ages. And he did exactly that. The skies were stained, and the gods went silent. It was the kind of victory that turns a warrior into a legend and a legend into a lasting threat. But his hunger for destruction wasn't satisfied yet. And when Shum ben Nisham made him their commander, the next chapter of this divine war began, with an invitation that was actually a trap named Parvati. After that crushing victory, there was no doubt Raktabij was the force the demons needed to take over everything. Shum ben Nisham, still drunk on their dreams of domination, handed him full control of their army. It was like giving a loaded cannon to someone already itching to pull the trigger. Their next move was political, but smelled like gunpowder. They sent Chand and Mund with a proposal to marry goddess Parvati and make her queen of the heavens. A proposal that was really a threat dressed up as an alliance. Chand and Mund, following the same arrogance as their masters, approached Parvati with words that couldn't hide their poison. It wasn't a request, it was a demand, a twisted attempt to turn the sacred into property. They had no idea who they were dealing with. Parvati, though calm and kind, carries the same energy that becomes fire when pushed too far. And let's be honest, how many times have you seen someone peaceful get pushed to the edge and finally unleash their real power? That moment right there is when the line between respect and provocation was crossed. The offer wasn't just rude, it violated cosmic order and disrespected the very nature of the goddess. And just like any energy pushed too far, Parvati didn't back down, she exploded. Her response didn't come in words, it came as transformation. When darkness dares to mock the light, that's when the thunder of Kali is already rumbling, even before her first roar. There's something eerie about the silence before a storm, and Chand and Mund tasted that silence the second they disrespected Parvati. The serene goddess, known for her compassion, revealed a side most feared to even imagine. That moment of humiliation became the spark, and from deep within, a fierce, raw force erupted. It was Kali, blue as a raging sky, eyes burning like 1,000 suns. She was born not from peace, but from sacred rage. Kali didn't walk, she stormed like a hurricane with feet. Her presence made demons forget the names they'd carried for centuries. She didn't seek revenge, she became it. With every step, the earth growled, and even the bravest warriors froze in terror. Imagine standing before an energy so intense, even time seems to slow down. This wasn't just a physical battle, it was spiritual, existential, final. The demons, so used to winning through fear, now tasted fear themselves. There was nowhere to hide, because Kali wasn't hunting enemies, she was tearing down illusions. And Raktabij, cursed with his blood-born blessing, was about to learn that not all spilled blood can boost the ego in front of a goddess who drinks war itself. Kali's scream wasn't just a sound, it was the death knell of an era, and the dawn of a new cosmic order where even the most feared tremble. Now that you've seen the power of Kali's transformation, ask yourself, what kind of change do you need to make in your own life today? Are you going to wait for chaos to crash into you, or will you move before it does? Drop your answer in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you never miss another step on this journey of transformation.